The concept we're talking about today doesn't have an actual name as far as I'm aware, but I like to call it navigation. This is a super common concept you'll deal with, especially when you're working in object-oriented programming, like how you would be working on inside of Unity or in web development. The same concept arises when you're navigating through the DOM or even just using JavaScript. Probably the first place most people will encounter it is when you're first navigating your computer's folder structure using the command line or terminal if you're on Mac. If you clicked on this video and you're new to programming and then I just said a whole bunch of stuff you didn't understand, that's okay. This is a really simple concept that is only difficult because transitioning from using a graphical interface to using code can be a bit of a leap for people. I was going to demonstrate this concept using a file system, but then I thought, this is a game development channel. Why am I using boring files when I could explain this concept using a game? So I actually created a game to demonstrate this concept. I spent about 10 hours working on a free aim trainer game that you can play right now on itch.io. Mouse sensitivity settings, field of view settings, reticle settings, 2 different game modes, all available to play in browser completely free. Go check it out after you finish watching the video. Also, I did want to say I'm going to be going through a game development example, but this concept is everywhere in code, literally everywhere. If you want to do game development using C# or C++, this is going to be relevant. If you're trying to learn web development using JavaScript, this is going to be relevant. If you want to do data analytics using Python, okay, you get the point. So let's go inside of our code and see how this concept works and how I personally understand this concept so you don't have to struggle with it when you're learning how to code. A lot of this, it's not written the best. I did it in 8 hours and I wasn't like, I wasn't really too focused, but I think this VCam is a perfect example, right? We have a virtual camera over here, and then if we go into the settings menu, so we have our virtual camera here, and then we have our settings inside of here. So this is our virtual camera. You can see right there, Cinemachine virtual camera. And the difficulty for a lot of people, I think when they're first starting out, is understanding how to navigate to that. So the first thing that we're doing is we're making a reference to the virtual camera inside of our script right here. So right now, this is a component of the Cinemachine virtual camera, and this is basically what we're getting right here. The Cinemachine virtual camera. And then the way we actually access it in the Unity editor in this thing, we can actually drag in this virtual camera into there, and that is how we're referencing this virtual camera. So now we have a reference to the virtual camera component. And the reason why I'm using Cinemachine is because even for me, it's complicated. I still have to look it up because it's just a little complicated to get there, to get to the thing that we want to change. Actually, we have 2 examples here. So in this example, in the first one, we're changing the mouse sensitivity. And that mouse sensitivity is actually here inside of our aiming. And it's this speed right here. This is the thing we're changing, and we're actually changing both of them, the horizontal and vertical axis at the same time. But that's what we're getting. We're getting the virtual camera, and then inside we're getting a component called Cinemachine POV. The reason why we have to do that is because this is a POV component that's nested within the Cinemachine virtual camera. So it's sort of like we're digging into this POV component by using this method. You see it's a method because we have the open and close bracket. So this is the issue that I think a lot of people have problem with. We have the virtual camera right here, but as soon as we use this dot right there, that means that we're going inside of the virtual camera. And then we're using this method to get the Cinemachine. Here, let me just duplicate this line and then show you what's going on in my head. Where we have the virtual machine, and then as soon as we do the dot and then get the Cinemachine POV, I sort of do this just inside of my head. I just do this. So we're at the Cinemachine virtual POV. And if we go back to Unity, that means we're in here. We're inside of this aim dropdown. And we want to get to the speed. But in order to get to that speed, we actually have to go, we're doing the horizontal first. So we're gonna have to access this horizontal axis and then go into the speed. And right now we're here. And then we want to get to the horizontal axis right here. And we just do that there. And then once we do that, now we're in the horizontal axis. So inside of my head, I basically disregard this section because we're in the place that we want to be now, right? So if we're in the place that we want to be and we're inside of the horizontal axis, the next thing that we want to access is going to be the speed. And the speed is just one layer below this. So we just use the dot. I don't know if it's an operator. I'm not really too sure what it is, but we're using the dot to dig from the horizontal axis into our speed. And then in my head, like as I keep saying in my head, just want to make sure that I'm not actually deleting it. In my head, now we're accessing this speed value. And then we're also getting a parameter of the mouse sensitivity, which is just a slider. And we're grabbing that value and we're equaling it to the speed. So in my head, we did a very direct dig. We went from the virtual camera, which is this, and then we used a method to get into the aim component. So now we're here, we're using a method to get here. And now we're just using, it's just a property within the aim POV component. We're going into the horizontal axis and now we're here. And then we're using another dot and then we're getting to the speed. And this is the thing that we're changing. And that, I think it seems simple. Like if we were to do this visually and we were to navigate to this point, like you even saw me do it, we would have to first click here, then to get to this have to open this drop down, and then once we hit the aim we have to open this drop down, and then if both of these were closed, then we wanted to get to the horizontal one, then we'd have to click this drop down, and then we can now access the speed. And to do that in a graphic interface, it makes a lot of sense. I just tell you, okay, go here, go here, go here. And the reason why it's easier is because visually you're actually going there and clicking on stuff. But in code, it's more difficult because you can't click on anything, right? You're just typing. So you're typing vcam, then you're typing get cinemachine component with a generic cinemachine POV, and then you're typing the property, and then you're typing that property that's inside of that property. And it just, if you're new, if you're a beginner, it feels very foreign. And I find that a lot of people get mixed up because they've never seen it before, they've never done it before. And you see, it's something that is used maybe not to this extent all the time. This is a very like deep dig that we're going through. We're going through one thing, then we're going to another, then we're going to another, then we're going to another. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going 4 layers deep, but we do it a lot, just going like 1 layer deep or 2 layers deep. You see, we're doing it here. We're getting into the cursor and getting the lock state, and then we're checking this enum of locked, and we're saying, are they equal? Like we see it all the time, literally all the time. We're going inside of the settings panel and setting it to active. We're going into this time, and then we're adjusting the time scale. It seems like, how often does this happen? Not that often, but the principle of digging into stuff, of digging into methods and classes and properties and going through that, it's a very super extremely common thing that a lot of people struggle with because it's not visual, it's all just code. But if you think of it in a visual way and you use this exclusion method of like simplifying what this line of code is doing, it makes it a lot simpler. Because basically when I see this, I'm basically ignoring everything besides here. This is just showing me the path that I have to take to get to this property, and that's all I'm doing. It seems difficult when you're beginning, but it's not really when you start to break it down into, well, the way that I just broke it down. And yeah, it's really a fundamental thing that everybody has to learn if you're learning programming, and it's difficult when you're first learning because you're coming from a world where everything is graphical. But the idea of digging is the same as using the graphical interface, but in code. People struggle with it because this is all happening on a single line and it's happening instantaneously, immediately, right? It's really fundamental. It's one of the first things that you have to understand, and it's a struggle because it's not graphical. It's all written in code. And I think the biggest reason why people struggle with it is because most of the time, not most of the time, but a lot of the time, not a lot of the time, but sometimes it's all written on one line, and probably we could actually simplify this. But yeah, that's it. I think I'm just repeating now. I'm rambling. So let me go ahead and stop this. And yeah, this was my thank you, Ted.